Welcome into the TexAgs Rewind here on a Friday, January 19th. Happy to have you watching along. Nick Savage here filling in for David Nuño, and over at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, Jackson Moss had his first day. Jackson, what'd you think of it?
It was really fun, honestly. Had a good time.
You said you think the show goes faster when you're in here, but when I'm out there, I feel like the show is like 7 hours long.
Yeah, I think it's just really being ready with the notes over here. I think that's why. And I'm always kind of checking out the text messages and everything. But no, it was fun. It was like pretty much everything I thought it was going to be. So super excited to be on board. Well,
happy to have you here, man. Today on the Rewind, we had the Go Hour with OB and Nuño. Oh, yes, of course. Nuño is in this Rewind. Don't worry. I just had to take over for him. Aggie Hoops Talk with Mark French. He kind of laid the groundwork going forward, what the Aggies need to do. We had ESPN senior writer Ryan McGee join us. Really good interview between him and David. And, of course, TexAgs co-owner Billy Liucci here in studio. All that and more here on the Rewind.
What is the topic? Patience. Really, my question is more about Alabama than it is about A&M, but I want to start off with A&M because I believe, except on the game day thread, this university, this fan base is going to give a little grace to Mike Elko.
Yeah, they always do. The first year coach almost always gets grace, because any failure is typically blamed on the predecessor.
But I still think we have pretty high expectations. Well, we have higher than 7 win expectations next year, regardless. With the schedule,
we should.
And it's going to feel like a repeat of a show I did last year. 9 wins, to me, is the bare minimum this university should be expecting.
Here's what I think. I think Mike Elko will be fine in everybody's minds as long as they win the games they're supposed to win and are competitive. Maybe pull off a win, but you need to be competitive in that game against Notre Dame and Missouri and LSU and Texas. At least, I'm saying at least competitive. I mean, you can't be embarrassed. Go out and win the other 8 because, quite frankly, you should.
If you win the other 8 and you...
Because A&M's lost games they shouldn't the last 3 years.
Yeah. And you split the games that you're not expected to win.
Oh,
now we're talking about
10-2. And then, I would say... If he went 10-2, they'd probably give him a big raise in contract extension, but that guy's in Ohio. I'm joking, Ross, if you're listening. I know you're not, but I'm joking. Because 1 year means everything is going to be okay, so you got to go all in after.
Well, I do believe that there's going to be patience, but not too much patience, right? Like expectations are going to be, are we advancing the program? Are we stuck in neutral, to borrow a term? And I don't think we are going to be stuck in neutral. I think everything Mike Elko has done so far, I know you wrote a recent column about his start here. Everything has been in the right direction.
I'm tired of the blue collar. Let's outwork them. We're going to come from behind and be the underdog. Like, no, I want to be the alpha male in every situation. Whether that's work, life, business, whatever. Like you're walking into something. Like, we're better than you. We're going to take this from you, and we're going to go recruit better players. Our staff's going to be better. Our scheme is going to be better. Our end-of-game situations are going to be better. And, I think Buzz has a lot of that in him. But I think one thing that we're missing is these hot starts to the game, and where you go and just put a team away and you bury them. And I've talked a lot about, and I know we're running short on time a little bit here, but I've talked a lot about, like, I didn't grow up an A&M fan. I grew up deep in the heart of SEC country in Memphis. And one of the things since I've come into this family, it's been amazing. But we're too nice. And there's a little bit of me. Look, I didn't get to where I was in college basketball, being a 5'8", 5'9" white kid by not having a little something in my neck, right? But, like, I want the whole fan base to develop a little bit more of a killer instinct. And we need to demand more. And that's across all sports. And with Bjork leaving, we have a little bit of a level set here. Huge fan of the new president, but it starts with guys like me and you, and it starts on shows like this. But we need to develop a swagger around what we do and what we expect, and not just because of how much money we have, but because of on-field and on-court performance. And so when it comes to the basketball team, it's like hey man, let's, instead of out toughing them, how about let's just come out and execute and put them away in the first half. And so I couldn't be more on board with you, and sorry for the soliloquy, but I was really fired up on Tuesday night because I understood the magnitude at the end of the season that Tuesday night is going to play.
Mark, I'm going to follow up your thoughts with my perspective of that, what you just said. I want to be the blue-collar team that evolves into the white-collar team, right? So I like having that DNA. Sure. What do you think about the job Coach Elko has done so far?
Well, I mean, listen, the challenge of the job is the fact that the job never ends. I mean, I think it's why Nick Saban just retired. I think it's why we're not going to see guys coaching into their late 60s and 70s. Once Mac Brown retires, I think that's done. Like, I just think the job is too hard. And it's not too hard for Mike Elko. He's such a detailed guy. Clearly, he understands the transfer portal. Even in a place like Duke, he was able to bring guys in with ridiculous academic restrictions and was able to keep guys from leaving. And so, and clearly he's done a great job with that so far. So he's a detail-oriented guy, but also just a good guy. I mean, I live here in North Carolina, and I actually grew up on Tobacco Road up in Raleigh, and there's a lot of really sad people in the state where I'm standing right now because Mike Elko is no longer up the road, but he just gets it. I think that the most curious part of the Jimbo Fisher experience was that Jimbo seemed to be all in on being a Texan, but not necessarily all in on like doing the things you have to do to be a college football coach in the state of Texas. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about, talking to the high school guys. That's it. I mean, it's such a huge part of the job, and Mike Elko is a master at that. So I think the potential is through the roof. And then to get into the other part of it, I think that, I like Ross. Obviously I've dealt with Ross at Ole Miss, and he dealt with some really difficult situations. The last time I saw him was on the campus at A&M when we were in town doing Marty McGee and sweating through my suit back, I think it was like week 3. But it also felt like this was probably a good move for everyone at this point. And so, few headlines coming out of College Station.
What do you think they got to do to get back on track here in SEC play?
A lot, because I watched that LSU Ole Miss game, and I think Ole Miss, isn't really tested. They beat Memphis before Memphis caught fire, and then I guess Memphis finally lost. Was it last night or the night before? South Florida. But other than that, they haven't really been tested. But they're a portal-infused team by Chris Beard, and they're good, and they're athletic, and they were confident, and they went in there to the PMAC last night in Baton Rouge and got smacked around. That was 2 nights ago, yeah. And they got smacked around pretty good. So I think it's a tough matchup for A&M with LSU's length. I agree with what Logan said, is you give Buzz Williams that quick a turnaround and a chance to kind of figure out what went wrong in their approach, if anything. And obviously I'd hope you'd look at that and go, something went wrong in our approach, because LSU smacked A&M around at home. I went from thinking certainly A&M was going to get revenge in that one, and I thought they were going to go up to Arkansas and beat a bad Arkansas team. LSU's a better team than Arkansas. Mm-hmm. Right now, today, LSU's playing better basketball than A&M. So that's going to be a tough task for the Aggies to go in there and win. That went from one I thought they'd certainly win to you better avoid a sweep at LSU. And if you're – it's tough, Nick, and it's a long conference season, so you can catch fire at the right time and go – you can beat a Tennessee and you play Ole Miss twice, who's ranked, and you can go win some games. You can go beat Alabama at Alabama. There's plenty of opportunities to get hot at the right time, and you're going to see several teams do this over the course of an SEC season. Only the elite ones don't do that. Mm-hmm. Last year, A&M didn't do that. They were elite. They don't look elite this year, so they're probably one of the many that are going to do this. Luckily, you have a very strong conference resume, but they have to start hitting an upward trajectory.
All right, y'all, thanks for watching the Rewind. Jackson, do you know what you're supposed to do at the end of a YouTube video?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Easy. Bam, bam. I think you're the first person to just nail it just like that. So that's how we'll close it out. Thanks for watching.